Hello BookTube, today is November 30th, and that means it's time for my November book haul. I have 14 books to show you, so let's get started. So the Vanguard book of the month, the first book I got in November, is The Greeks by Roderick Beaton. This is a big history of the Greeks from prehistory to the present or near present, and this is from the author of Greece, Biography of Modern Nation, which I read earlier this year and loved, and I am excited to get to the Greeks. The second book I got this month, I got from Midtown Scholar through Libris, and that is The Braganzas, The Rise and Fall of the Ruling Dynasties of Portugal and Brazil, 1640 to 1910, by Malyn Newitt. This is a history of the Braganzas, and I picked this up in no small part because I'm quite interested in monarchy and dynasties, and I thought this would be a very interesting book to have. The next book is a book that I got on my birthday because for some odd reason it released on a Friday and not a Tuesday. Normally in the US, books are released on Tuesdays instead of although some publishers I think publish on other days, but this one from Reaction Books through University of Chicago, although I ordered it from Amazon as a pre-order, is Miracles of Our Own Making, A History of Paganism by Liz Williams. This is a history of British paganism. I'm thinking more modern paganism than like the earlier religion of Britain, but it's from the perspective of somebody who's closer to the community than, say, Ronald Hutton is in his Drawing Down the Moon. I do have an interest in the history of Wicca and neo-paganism, and I'm quite interested to see how this book matches up with Drawing Down the Moon. Hopefully it's not too credulous. I'm pretty sure it won't be, but I'm looking forward to getting to it. Next up are two more books from Midtown Scholar. The first one, India's War by Srinath Raghavan, was the last book that I drew in my October random selector thing. Basically, I asked my tablet to pick a random number between 1 and whatever the highest number of books in my Libris wish list is, and I ordered that book, and this was the last of those books. And I'm quite interested to check it out. And I also picked up A Generation Divided, The New Left, The New Right in the 1960s by Rebecca E. Hatch. This is a history of the New Left and the burgeoning conservative movement in the late 60s. And I'm very interested in the period, and I'm looking forward to checking this out. The next two books were pre-orders, and I got them on the day of release. The first one is The Last King of America, The Misunderstood Reign of George III by Andrew Roberts. This is a biography of George III. And I want to say Roberts takes a far more sympathetic view of George III than he normally gets. And I'm quite looking forward to it. And I also picked up H.W. Brand's Our First Civil War, Patriots and Loyalists in the American Revolution by H.W. Brands. This book looks at the American Revolution, or the War for American Independence, through the lens of the conflict between the patriots, those who were in favor of American and fighting for American independence from the United Kingdom, and the loyalists, those who wished to remain within the British Empire. Next up is the 900th book in my library, and that honor goes to Gulag, A History by Applebaum. This is a history of the Soviet penal system, and I picked it up from Barnes & Noble because my brother and sister-in-law got me a Barnes & Noble gift card for my birthday, and I had a few options to select. Unfortunately, for whatever annoying reason, Barnes & Noble did not want to accept my edited card information, so I could only use the gift card, and I had to be sort of judicious in how I spent it, so I only got one book, although I think I have a little bit of money on the card left, so if I get another Barnes & Noble gift card, I'll use that one up too for something else, because I was going to get, I was thinking about maybe getting some manga, but I ended up going over and a few other things, so I decided to pick up this, and I'm quite happy. I really like Anne Applebaum's writing, and I loved her Iron Curtain, so I'm looking forward to getting to the Gulag. Next up is a book I ordered on my birthday. It was a very bad day, and I ended up ordering 2 book orders. We'll get to that second one at the end. Also on my birthday, Powell's, the storied independent bookstore in Portland, Oregon, had a 20% sale. So I jumped on it, as I usually do, and I picked up The Impeachers, The Trial of Andrew Johnson and the Dream of a Just Nation by Brenda, Wineapple. Which I loved her Aesthetic Nation, and I'm looking forward to reading this as well. Ouch. I may or may not be able to get a Steve pyramid out of this. We shall see. Although that would be a hilarious thumbnail, I think. Next up is a new release, and that is American Comics, A History by Jeremy Dauber. This is a big history of American comics, not only in comic books, as the cover looks like, but also the comic strips. And I'm really looking forward to reading this. I have a abiding love for comics and comic book history and in comic strips, and I'm really looking forward to reading this. Ooh, that's about to go over. Finally, I have 4 books from the University of Chicago. The university, which I also ordered on my birthday. My birthday was incredibly stressful, and I had I made 2 book orders to pick me up. The first was from Powell's, and then the second was from the University of Chicago. So the University of Chicago has a sale on. They've got a little catalog, and it's like 20% off of everything on there. And I decided to pick up some history books. This entire hall is obviously history. I'll get to that after I finish these 4 books. So, in the catalog, the one book, or the first book that really jumped out at me as one that I really wanted was The Making of a King, Antigonus Gonatas of Macedon and the Greeks by Robin Waterfield. This is a biography of Antigonus Gonatas, and I have a deep interest in Alexander the Great and the wars of the successors that followed in his wake. I'm quite looking forward to getting to this. Next up, I got A Fistful of Shills, West Africa from the Rise of the Slave Trade to the Age of Revolution by Toby Green. This is a history of Africa, which I've been wanting to add to my library, and I'm quite happy to have it. It's a book that I've wanted for quite some time, much like The Golden Rhinoceros. Next is Waves Across the South, A New History of Revolution and Empire by Sujit Sivasundaram. This is a history of the British Empire and I think the opposition to that in Southeast Asia. And I've been seeing this book in a number of places for a while, and I've really wanted it, and I'm quite happy to finally have it. I'm looking forward to reading it. And finally, I picked up Queer Legacies, Stories from Chicago's LGBTQ Archives by John D'Amelio. I have an interest in LGBTQ history, although I don't really collect as much of it as I would like. When I was an English lit major, well, I am an English lit major, that's what I have my bachelor's in. And when I wanted to pursue a further academic career, I wanted to be an English professor and a scholar of literature. When I was younger, one of my areas of interest would have been in 20th and 21st century LGBTQ literature or gay literature. So yeah, so I'm kind of happy to have this. I'm looking forward to reading it and see what it is. I kind of bought this sight unseen. But anyway, so that was my November book haul. So for December, I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to do. I've mentioned a few times that I wanted my to collect only, or to only pick up history books the last few months of 2021. And a part of me still wants to do that, and I think generally I will likely do that. I have 7 books incoming that I've ordered in the past few days, and they're all history. 3 from Alibris through Discover Books, 2 from Book Depository, and 2 from Pals. They had another sale, so I picked up some. So they're all history. I'm not entirely sure what all else I'll be adding. I think I'm going to have an order tomorrow, because I also need to get something for my Pestilence's birthday. It's coming up, and also I need to wrap up my Christmas shopping with getting something for my brother and sister-in-law. And then I have, like, on Friday I'll probably order my Christmas present for my mom, which is, yeah, but it's funny. Anyway, so I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to do with that. I have some ideas, but I don't know. I'm feeling an urge to maybe diversify some, to add some fiction and some science fiction, some fantasy, mostly fantasy. So I don't know. We'll see. Obviously, I'll know before December 31st or whatever's convenient on the last days of December when I will do my December book haul. So anyway, BookTube, until tomorrow, hopefully I will do a tag video tomorrow and Thursday, and then weekly reads on Friday. But anyway, BookTube, and so until tomorrow, thank you, have a great afternoon, and stay safe.